We are student-assisted medical and dental applications, a society at Barts and the London School of Medicine and Dentistry, but you can call us SAMDA. As a society, we are dedicated to support schools, colleges, and sixth form students in their first step towards a career in medicine or dentistry. We conduct school visits to give you that personal guidance, clinicians' evenings with prestige alumni and professionals, skills days to equip you with all the skills to ace the application, mock interviews with students and clinicians to give you that first-hand experience and get you ahead of the game, a buddy scheme so that we at SAMDA can support you every single step of the way, weekly tips on our social media to give you some bite-sized and concise wisdom and advice. If that's not all, our extensive SAMDA medicine and dentistry guide and much, much more. Check out our social media and stay up to date. We are only a click away.
Hi guys.
Hello.
My name is Manor and I'm a fourth year dental student at Barts and also a dental rep for SAMDA, and with me is Garden.
Hi everyone, I'm Garden. I'm a fourth year dental student at Barts as well, and I am part of a dental committee with SAMDA.
So
Should we go on?
let's get started.
Yeah.
Okay. So just before we move on to hard tissue dental charting, we're just going to briefly go over what SAMDA is and what we really do.
So who are we? So we are a student-run society based at Barts in London, Queen Mary School of Medicine and Dentistry. As you saw in the video before, our society is dedicated to supporting sixth form students in local state schools as they take their first step towards a career in medicine or dentistry.
And due to safeguarding and reporting concerns, the YouTube comment section has been turned off. But if you do want to interact with us or if you have any questions, then please go to our Instagram story and ask questions, which is at barts_samda. And if you have any concerns, please email at the email address on the slide. And all your information will be kept confidential.
So yeah.
Also, before we begin, I just want to let you guys know that you guys don't need to know this. This is just a taster.
Yeah.
You don't need to know anything that we learned today. It's just to give you guys a taste of like how, dental school's like, the kind of things we go through.
Mm-hmm.
And, you will learn this when you want to start dental school anyways. So you won't be tested in your interview or anything. so just enjoy it today.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared if you don't get it the first time. So yeah.
Yeah.
Should we start?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with what exactly a hard tissue charting is. So hard tissue charting is one type of examinations that dentists do in the mouth of the patient. So it involves looking at the patient's teeth, checking if everything's okay, and also recording all this detailed information about the patient's teeth using simpler symbols and diagrams. So what do we actually look out for? So during the examination, dentist checks the presence of the teeth, so how many teeth the patients have, and if the patient is missing any teeth. So, and also if so, then which one's missing. And also we check if the patient has any previous restorations that has been done before, any fillings or any crowns. Also, it's really important to check if the patient has any problems, so any cavities, so like dental caries. And Manor's going to look at the reason why we do this.
So first of all, it's a medical legal requirement. We all of us are required to keep a record of the patient's clinical. It's a medical requirement, and it's something we need to keep a record of. And it also provides a summary of the patient's dental status. It's required as a full clinical record, and It also allows teeth to be minuted over time. And last but not least, it's used for dental forensics. So it's actually pretty cool. So if someone's passed away and you can't work out who this person is, you can actually use their dental status, look at their teeth, and compare similar records in hospitals or in dental practices and work out who this person is.
Yeah. So moving on to tooth numbering. So there are two different tooth numbering systems. It's called Zygmundi Palmar notation and FDI. But since we use Palmar notation the most, we'll be focusing on that one today. So this is the diagram we have here. So this diagram represents the teeth of the patient. So let's imagine that you are standing in front of the patient, and then you draw these lines. So one at the midline, and then the one horizontal line across. Basically, we are separating a person's mouth into 4 quadrants. So if you see here, it's like upper right, upper left, lower right, and lower left. So the top numbers represents the upper teeth, and then the bottom numbers represents the lower teeth. So here, like these. So as you can see, the right and left are the other way around. This is still correct because it's written from the patient's point of view. So you know how I said to imagine you're standing in front of the patient. So your left would be the patient's right, and your right will be the patient's left. That's why the right and left are the other way around. So the adult teeth are written as numbers from 1 to 8 because we have 8 teeth in each quadrant. So we have 8 teeth in upper right, upper left, lower right, lower left. That's why it has numbers. And for the baby teeth, also known as primary teeth, are written as alphabets from A to E because they have 5 teeth in each quadrant. So I hope that was clear, and let's
Also,
move
I'm just going to add something in.
Yeah, sure.
So just to make it more clearer for you guys, think of it, imagine me or God, we're in front of you right now. Look at us and treat it like this. So if you've got this would be your upper right for us. So if you're looking at us right now, this is your upper right. Even though for me, it's, okay, so this is your upper right, this is your upper left, this is your lower right, and this is your lower left. I hope that's making more sense now.
Yeah, you're just writing it how it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the chart.
So you guys might have noticed the numbers 1 to 8. That's just equivalent to the tooth number. So number 1 is the central incisor, number 2 is the lateral incisor, number 3 is the incisor, number 4 and number 5 are premolars, 1 and 2, number 6 is the first molar, number 7 is the second molar, and number 8 is your third molar, which is also wisdom tooth. And as Garton said, that there's like an upper arch and a lower arch. So for the upper arch, we are looking at 2 grids. There's the inner grid, which presents the dental work that, that's been done, and that's the patient's current dental status. So, for example, could be a restoration that they have. And the outer grid, which is in orange,
in
shows
yellow.
the work that needs to be done. So that could be an extraction that needs to be done.
Okay. So let's go over some definitions for the 2 surfaces. So incisal is the biting edge of the incisors and canines. As Manor went through, incisors and canines are from 1 to 3. The incisal edge would be this dotted line. Can you see? Like these are the incisal edge. And for the premolars and molars from 4 to 8, it's the biting surface. So it's the square of the from 4 to 8. So as you can see, these are the occlusal surface. And for mesial, it's the surface of any teeth nearest to the midline of the mouth. So if we cross the midline right between the ones, it's all the boxes, that's surfaces that's towards the midline. So here it's this green boxes here. And distal is opposite of mesial, so it's the surfaces of all teeth furthest from the midline of the mouth. So like we said, the midline is between the one. So all the boxes away from the midline are called distal. So here you can see the midline in the middle, and all the boxes that's away from the midline is called distal. So next one is labial. This is a surface facing the lips, and this is also only applies for incisors and canine, so from 1 to 3. So labial it's here, so it's the surfaces facing the lip. So like here. And for buccal surface, it's a surfaces facing the cheeks, which is kind of similar to the ones we had for the labial, but it only applies to premolars and molars, so from 4 to 8. So here you can see the boxes that show the shades. So these are called buccal. For palatal, these are the surfaces that facing the palate of your mouth for all upper teeth. Because the palate is on the upper side, it only applies for the all upper teeth. So it's like these, the yellow boxes. Yeah. So these are called palatal because it faces the palate. So palatal, palate. Lingual is basically the same, but only for the lowers. So the surface facing the tongue of all lower teeth, because the tongue's on the lower side. So it's like the red boxes here. So these are called lingual surface that faces the tongue. So yeah, that's basically all the surfaces. And Manil's gonna go through all the summary again, because that is a lot of information here.
So yeah. As it is a lot of information, is quite overwhelming. I'm gonna give you guys about 15 minutes just to like get the all in. Yeah. And I'll go over the summary again. We'll summarize it, and hopefully you guys will be able to remember them.
So yeah.
Yeah, just gonna give it a few minutes. Sorry, seconds. And I'll begin. So one tip I'll give you guys this time is just focus on one tooth. It could be your left 8, it could be right 8 or right 7, any tooth you like. Focus on it and follow me along as I talk you through the sides again. And hopefully that'll be able to help you guys a bit more as well. So just to start with, your incisor side is your biting edge, which is for the front teeth. And that's your tooth 1 to 3, which is from your incisors to your canines, okay? And then you have your occlusal surface. Cotton, do you want to bring it from here?
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
So your occlusal surface is your biting surface, which is for your teeth at the back, so your premolars and your molars, and that's a tooth 4 to 8. And then you have your mesial surface, which Cotton was saying is towards the midline. Mm-hmm. And that surface for any tooth, you always want to see which is towards the midline. So a tooth here, the midline would be towards this side. Mm-hmm. And then for your distal surface is the surface of the tooth that's the furthest away from it, so towards the back. And then your labial surfaces are the ones that face the lip. So that's first for the front teeth. So that's tooth 1 to 3 again, and that's the incisors. So remember, incisors, canines have an incisal edge, and they're towards the labial surface as well. And then you have your buccal surface. Now, buccal surface is this surface is towards your cheek, and that's for your teeth at the back as well. So that's your premolars and your molars again, and that's tooth 4 to 8. And then you have for the upper arch, the inner side is facing the palate. So you call it the palatal surfaces, which is in blue, neon blue. And then you have your lower arch. And for the lower arch, the inner surfaces are facing the tongue. So you call them lingual surfaces. And that's orange in this case. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope that was just as clear for you guys.
Yeah. Should we just kind of leave it for like
a
few seconds for them to kind of look through it, because it is a lot of information, and honestly it took me quite a while to get my head around it.
And you had to keep practicing as well. You want to get it in first time, you have to just keep looking at it.
There is a really good summary on the right hand side, on the top right hand side. That's a really good example, just like that shows that everything.
So we'll give you guys like 30 more seconds, and then we can change the slide.
And then we're going to do a quiz next, just to see if you've kind of got it, I guess. Okay, should we move on?
Yeah, let's go.
Should we do a little quiz? Okay,
yeah, let's go for it.
Let's go for it. Okay. So, would you like to go for it and then shade the palatal surface of upper left one?
So imagine it's my teeth. This is your right side. This is your left side.
Mm-hmm.
My right side, my left side. And imagine me. And where is the palate? The upper arch. and your first is equivalent. So if you look at your number 1, left side, I hope you guys have found it by now. And the
Yeah,
palette
hopefully.
is towards the inner side, remember, not the outer side of the grid?
So it's going to be this one.
Yeah. So I
So
hope you guys
inside.
got that.
Hope you got it right. But it's okay if you didn't get it right. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll do some more and then you'll get used to it. Okay, the next one, shade the mesial surface of lower left 8. So LL8. So we'll give you a few seconds for you to kind of think.
So find your quadrant, your area which is lower left, then find your tooth number 8, and then find your mesial surface, which is, remember, towards the midline.
Yeah. That's a really good way, actually. Find the quadrant first, and then find the tooth
number.
and then find the surface. And that's actually really good. Okay, so that one is this one. That's the mesial surface, the nearest to the midline between the ones, and that is in the lower left 8. Okay, next one is, I gave it out. Oh my gosh. Okay, pretend you didn't see that. Shade the incisal surface of lower right 3. I'm not sure if anyone saw that.
The guys, same rule applies, lower right,
Mhm.
and find your tooth number 3, then find your incisal edge.
Yeah.
Which God did for you guys very
nicely.
nicely.
I gave that one, sorry.
No.
It's that one. It's this bit, the incisal edge of lower right 3. Okay, should we go to the next one?
Yeah,
Hopefully I do it well this time. Okay, nailed it. So for this one, shade the buccal surface of upper right 6. Find the quadrant first, and then find the tooth, and then go find the surface, which is buccal surface.
I could remember it's towards the outside, so it's going to be outer side of the box.
It's a cheek, so it's going to be here. So yes, this one, I think this one's the last one. So shade the distal surface of lower left 4. So the quadrant is lower left. The tooth number is 4. And because it's distal, it's going to be
away from the midline.
Away from the midline. So it's going to be this box.
Yes.
Yes. Amazing.
Okay. So
welcome
you guys for, trying them. And I hope you guys found all of that useful. And now, since we've looked at the dental chart itself, we're going to look at some symbols and how we annotate the chart itself. So these are some of the symbols we'll be looking at. So go on, if you can go to the next slide, please.
Yep.
So a cavity, which is also known as dental caries or dental decay, is usually recorded as a unfilled circle. So if you think of it, it's like a space, it's a cavity. So it's like an unfilled circle. And then a restoration, which is also known as a filling, is recorded as a filled circle because it's a filling and it's filled.
Filled circle, yeah.
So remember, the cavity space, not filled, and restoration
Cavity is like
filling
hole in
is
them.
Filled with a filling. Yeah. So it's coloured.
That's a really good way, actually. Okay, next one is, so if there are any teeth missing, we record it as a horizontal line across the box. If the tooth has to be extracted, and that's like a treatment plan, we record it as a diagonal line, so we can't save it, so we record it as diagonal line. And if the tooth has recently been extracted, we make it into a cross, so across the box. And then for any tooth that's like partially erupted, so any tooth that has been only out like halfway through or something, we write PE, which stands for partially erupted. The next one
so it's half out, half in, sort of.
Yeah, kind of. When it's about to come out, we call it partially erupted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's some more symbols for you guys. So a tooth that has a root filled is known as is actually written as a circled. Sorry, I can't speak. A circle that's coloured in with the RF, so for root filled, and then a tooth that has a fissure sealant. Now, fissure sealants are like, it's like a sealant that seals any pits and fissures and grooves on a tooth, and that's usually put down as a FS for fissure sealant. and then a tooth with a crown has a CR written on it, and then a tooth that's fractured usually has a hashtag on it. Just to let you guys know, fractured is different to broken. A tooth that's broken has like a part of it cracked off or chipped off. A tooth that's fractured doesn't actually mean it's like fractured means that it just has a crack in between it, but it hasn't actually, chipped off or anything.
Yeah, it just has a little crack, I guess. Okay, let's move on to some practice.
Okay, so
is everyone ready?
we'll go slowly and give you guys
Yes.
some time to do them. So
Okay.
if you guys can remember, we just did this one now. A
Just like
hashtag
seconds ago.
is equivalent to a it is equivalent to fracture tooth.
Yes.
And then remember, unfilled circle is equivalent to, it's unfilled, so it's a cavity. And looking at the side, it's on the outer side, so outer side. And in this case, because it's the upper arch and it's the outer side of the box, it is a labial surface, so it's a labial cavity.
Yes.
And then now, same applies to the tooth next to it, but it's the inner side of the box, so the opposite of the labial would be the palatal, so the palate. So the palatal surface, cavity.
Yes. So for the next line, this is kind of something similar. So it has a filled circle. Because it's filled, it's a filling. And because it's on the one that Manor said, because it's on the inner grid, inner box, it's also a palatal restoration. It's a filling, it's on the palatal surface, and because it's a filled circle, it's a restoration. For the next one, it's the same thing, so it's a restoration, but because it's on the outer surface, it's going to be a labial restoration. Yeah. These are all incisors.
Right now.
These are all incisors of teeth, by the way. So it's not occlusal, it's a labial. So I mean, yeah. Anyway, the next one
is a box in the middle. Incisor is just a line in the middle.
Yeah, I feel like we should have said that in the beginning, because but it's okay. Yeah, these are all incisor teeth, so the surface is only for incisors teeth. The next one is RF, which stands for root filled.
Yeah.
And as we said, there's a little box, there's a little dot here that's a filled in circle, so it's going to be a restoration as well, but because it's on the inner grid, it's a palatal restoration that has been root filled.
Yeah. So moving on to the next row. So if you look at this one, the cool thing is both of the symbols are in the same place, but what's the difference? Can you guys work that out for the next two? It's just the midline. So think of it. So for this tooth on the left, the symbol, which is a filled in circle, which you guys know is a filling as a restoration, that's on which side to the middle? It's the closest to the middle, so it's the mesial of that tooth. So it's a mesial restoration. And for number two, it's actually away from the midline, so it's the distal restoration in this case.
Yeah.
And remember, CR stands for crown. So it's that tooth has a crown.
That has a crown, yeah. Whoa!
That's fine.
Okay.
It was after I said it, so that's fine.
So it's fine. Yeah, it's basically the same concept as what Manor said. These boxes are side boxes. You just have to think about the midline. It's a cavity because it's an unfilled circle. It's a cavity, but because it's away from the midline, the first one is going to be a distal cavity. But the next one, because if you think about it, the midline's in the middle, and then the cavity is closer to it. It's closer to the middle, so it's mesial.
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't. Are we going too fast, Manor? What do you think?
I think we're going quite slowly and nicely. Okay. We can just have longer pauses, maybe like 5 seconds more between each of us. But I think we're doing fine.
I feel like we should let them think about it.
Yeah.
I feel like we might be losing.
We'll go on the next page, but we'll give you guys 30 seconds before we go over these as well. Just have a look at the different symbols you can see, the different size you can see. And also, just to remind you guys, the previous one was looking at anterior teeth with incisal edge. This one is looking at teeth in the back, which has an occlusal surface. So there's like a box in the middle for each of them. Have a look at them. We'll give you guys 30 seconds and then we'll begin again. Guys, just a reminder, if you have questions, please send them on SAMDA's Instagram. We'll look at them and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So to begin, just a reminder, if you can remember, X stands for a tooth that has been extracted. So it's one line, one diagonal line, and that's incomplete to your X, which means it's something that needs to be done. So a diagonal line is a tooth that needs to be extracted.
Yes. And for the next ones, we went through it. So thinking about, because it's side boxes again, think about the midline. And because the first one is nearer to the midline, it's going to be a mesial something. But because it's a filled circle, it's going to be a filling. So it's a restoration. So it's a mesial restoration. And for the next one, it's kind of similar. It's like restoration as well, but it's because it's away from the midline, it's going to be a distal restoration. Yes. So next one is PE on it. I don't know if you remember it, but PE stands for a tooth that is half in, half out. So it's going to be like partially erupted. So tooth partially erupted. And as Manol mentioned before, the one with the diagonal line is to be extracted. If it's being extracted, it's going to be a cross. So
it's complete cross.
Yeah, complete cross. So it's a tooth that has been recently extracted. So yeah.
I hope you guys are enjoying these practice questions.
Yeah.
The next two are, again, unfilled. So we know that already that they're both cavities or tooth decay or caries. Now, we need to think about the location of them. For the first one, it's in the middle. A bit of it is in the middle. So it includes the occlusal part. And then a bit of it is actually on the outer surface. Okay, so outer surface becomes the labial surface. So it's actually it's actually two surface cavity, occlusal, which involves the occlusal and the labial surface.
Buccal.
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 Oh, sorry. Buccal.
Buccal. Yeah. No, honestly, I find
buccal.
Buccal because it's the premolar. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
This is a premolar and molar teeth. Yeah. It's a buccal. So the ones that are labial is the incisors, which is like facing the lip. This is labial. This is buccal. So,
I'm glad I made that mistake because that's important.
I get that all the time. I do that all the time.
Literally. And that's what I was reminding you guys as well, because for the teeth with the incisal edge, it would have been the labial, but because this is the back teeth at the back, it's actually the buccal, the cheek.
It's like the buccal.
Yeah. And actually same goes for this one now. The last tooth that we're going to test you guys on is it's towards the midline. So if you guys can remember, it's a mesial and unfilled, so it's a mesial cavity. Yeah.
Great.
Well done, you guys. Pat yourself on the back. And now it's the real fun stuff. We're going to give you guys your parts and your symbols, and we're going to let you guys work through it slowly yourselves. So I hope you guys are ready to go. I'm going to give you guys 5 seconds.
Get a pen and a paper.
Yeah, get a pen and a paper. Get ready. We'll give you guys 10 seconds now, just in case you need to get a pen and a paper.
It's going to be fun.
The good thing is it's the same method that applies to what we've done so far in the presentation. So
it's just
hopefully you guys will be able to understand it more. It's just all coming together now.
All coming together now.
So as an example, this is your hard tissue dental chart. And on that, if you just ignore what the text says above it, just look at the chart that's been given to you and the symbol that's on it. The best thing to do is, if you were given that and then you were told to tell what's going on, what you do is you first will look at where are you looking in the mouth, and then if you look at the chart, you're looking at the upper right side, okay? And then the next question you should have is, what tooth are we looking at? You're looking at tooth number 7, so it's upper right 7, which is this tooth, okay, at the back. And now you've done this. Now you're looking at which side, what's actually happening to the tooth. It's an unfilled circle, so it's the cavity. Okay, it has got caries there, and the last thing you want to know is which areas are being affected. Well, in this case, it's the occlusal area in the middle, and it's the area towards the midline, so it's the mesio-occlusal area. Or you can just say it's a two-surface cavity, which involves the occlusal and the mesial surface.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, your answer would be upper right 7 has a mesio-occlusal cavity.
So we'll give you guys a few seconds on this slide to take it all in. I know there's been a lot of information that we've shared with you guys for this presentation. So do feel free to ask us questions and have some moments right now to take it all in, and then we'll go to the practice questions.
Yeah. Should we go on to the next slide then? Should we start the quiz? Okay, so the question 1 is this one. So focusing on the little thing on the diagram, focus on the diagram. So I'll give you
Shall
a few
we give
seconds.
them like 10 seconds?
Yeah, let's give them a few seconds and then
we'll go over it.
And then we'll kind of help. So this is just like there for help. So firstly, identify the tooth, think about the area of interest or which surface it's on, and using the symbol, describe what is happening, like what we did for the example.
Shall we go ahead?
Yeah, so if you see here, so it's in the, let's find the quadrant first. So it's lower left quadrant, and it's on the tooth number 4. So it's lower left 4. And where it is, it's on the bang in the middle of the box, the middle box, which is the occlusal, so the biting edge. So the occlusal, and what is happening here, it's the black filled in circle. So it's going to be a filling, which also means a restoration. So this one, lower left 4 has a occlusal restoration. So the answers are written here in sections. So this is the answer. And should we move on to the next question?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you guys 15 seconds to do this as well, and then we'll go through it together.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to make a slow start on this. So the best thing to do first is find the area or the tooth we're looking at. So you're looking at the upper right side, and you're looking at tooth number 5. So it's the upper right 5 you're looking at, so somewhere up here. And the second thing is what's happening to the tooth. It's going to get extracted. It's the work that needs to be carried out. And the area of interest is actually the whole tooth, because you want to get the whole tooth taken out. So you will just say upper right 5 to be extracted.
Yeah. Because this one's the whole tooth, we don't say any of the surfaces because it's a whole tooth. So yeah. So next one is going to be this one. We'll give you a few seconds. Find a tooth. And then okay, so let's find the quadrant it's in. So it is in the upper left corner quadrant. The tooth number is 2. So it's upper left 2. And which area it's in the outer grid. So it's going to be somewhere here. So it's going to be labial surface. And because it's unfilled circle, it's going to be a hole. So it's a cavity. So it's upper left 2 has a labial cavity. So yeah, that's the answer. And let's move on to the next one.
Okay, we're going to give you guys a few seconds before I go through this one. So you're looking at, first of all, the name of the tooth and where the tooth is. So it's the lower right, tooth number 8. And what's happening to the tooth? It's PE, which means it's partially erupted. It's half in, half out. And what part of the tooth is affected? All of it, right? So you would say lower right 8, partially erupted.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, which is this one. So I thought you might be getting like quite used to this now. So find a quadrant, which is the lower left, right? And it's on number 1, so it's lower left 1. It's the whole thing that's been affected. So, and what does hashtag mean? It's a fracture. So the answer is lower left 1 has been fractured. So yeah. Next one. It's this one.
Okay. So I'm just going to get started. I feel like you guys must be getting a hang of this. I'll speak slowly, but we'll get started.
Yeah.
So again, look at the area of the tooth and the name of the tooth. So it's your upper left side, and it's tooth number 6. And then what's happening to the tooth? FS is a fissure sealant. Remember, it's a sealant that seals any fissure, pits, and grooves of a tooth. And which area is being affected, or which area are we looking at? It's the whole tooth. So this time we'll say it's the upper left 6 with the fissure sealant.
Yeah. So upper left 6 has a fissure sealant. Nice. So we're moving on to the last question. This one's quite difficult. Out is quite difficult.
But your main part of the answer, just a hint, it's in the area of interest. Which areas are you looking at? Which services are you looking at? How many services are being included?
Yeah. So think about that. So quite tricky one, I would say. So it's which quadrant it's in? It's lower right. And because it's number 7, it's lower right 7 that has been affected. And if you see the symbol, it's not quite a circle, but it's still an unfilled shape, which means that it has a hole, which is a cavity. So it's a cavity, but which areas are affected? So we can see that it's a mesial surface, and also a occlusal surface, and a distal surface. So it's going to be has a occluso-distal cavity.
Also, forget the words. You guys don't need to know like this. All you need to just understand is that, unfilled is equal to cavity.
Mm-hmm.
What's being involved? 3 surfaces. And what are the 3 surfaces? Mesial, occlusal, and distal. If you guys can understand that, you guys got it. Like, forget that name.
I mean, it's just like all together, to be honest. It's just all meshed up together.
So
it's just
that's how you'd write it down, but don't worry about it. You guys don't need to know it now.
It's a massive long word, but it makes sense. It's a mesial, occlusal, and distal involving cavity. Okay, that's all the quizzes we have, and that's the end of the session.
Well, thank you so much guys for coming in today.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Thank you for joining us as well.
Yeah, but don't be worried if you didn't get much of it, because it's fine. It's only a taster session today, so this is like type of things that we learn when you go into dental school for the first time. Yeah, it's quite fun.
Yeah. And again, if you have any questions, please do get in touch with us on Instagram, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Mm-hmm. Last thing, it would be wonderful if we could get some feedback from you. So you can use your phone camera, oh my gosh, phone camera to scan the QR code and complete the feedback form. Everything's anonymous, so you can be really nice, or you can be really really be
And
strict on.
nice. And
Yeah.
nice.
You can be really strict on it. It really helps us to improve and make a better session. So yeah.
Yeah, we would appreciate your honesty. But
Yeah,
just
we
to
do.
remind you guys, it will close tomorrow at 10 p.m. So please, if you can just do it now, get out your phone, scan
That
the
would be
QR code.
amazing.
We
It
would
would only
really
take you
appreciate
like
that.
3 minutes. Yeah, less than
And
3
you
minutes.
guys will get certificates for this. So well done for coming and joining us today. Just a
Yeah.
reminder, we also have 4 other Friday clinics left with a lot more exciting taster sessions for you guys. A lot more you can learn about dentistry as well, and we can always answer your questions on the go. So please join them as well.
Yeah, it's every Friday, 7:30, like how this one started. So
Same
yeah, it'll be
time.
amazing. Yeah, same
So
time.
try and keep yourselves free.
Friday. Don't go out. Stay in. What? So yeah.
So if you guys want, take a picture of this slide as well. It's got all our information about how you can also actually get in touch with us, our email account, our Instagram, Facebook, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys again.
Yeah. See you next Friday, actually.
Yeah, see you guys. Have a lovely evening. Bye all.
Have a lovely evening. Bye.